Hey Josh, this is it, that it's not our first meeting.
No, it's not.
It's great to see you back.
Great to see you again.
Predictions are that Josh Groban's name is going to become a household name. And I first met you a few years ago when I saw you rehearsing with Celine Dion at the Grammy Awards. You were singing the Andrea Bocelli part in the song The Prayer.
Oh, man.
Everybody sat there in complete awe of you.
Well, I had no idea what was going on. It was the biggest, probably one of the biggest days of my life. And I didn't know who was there. I didn't know where the stage was. I was guiding me around. It was such an amazing event. And
in retrospect, was it better that you didn't know?
Yes, definitely. No, if I had known who was there and how important that day was going to be, I probably would have been much more nervous than I was.
Now, obviously, that's the first day that, I discovered you, that Rosie O'Donnell discovered you, etc., that various other people saw you.
Yeah.
But this obviously was a dream of yours from, a long time ago. I mean, you started to sing. You knew that you had a God-given gift at what point in your life?
Well, I always knew I could sing. It was always something I wanted to do, but, my parents were very realistic, and I was very realistic, and we didn't really know when or whether or not I'd be able to do it professionally. So I didn't really start taking it totally seriously until shortly before I did that Grammy rehearsal. I was 17. So 16, 17, I kind of decided I wanted to get into singing, and I didn't know what kind of singing that would be, whether it be theater or opera or pop. I just didn't know, but David Foster kind of guided me in that direction.
So you meet up with David Foster because you had a vocal coach who knew David Foster.
That's right.
We all know somebody who knows somebody, but I mean, very rarely do things come of those things,
Right.
All of a sudden you send a tape to Mr. Foster, who actually calls you back. I want to know where you were when he called you, and where you were when you picked up that phone.
I had just woken up,
yes.
and he called me up, and he said, hey, I just listened to your tape, and it's good. It's really good. I'd like you to do this thing for Gray Davis, the governor of California. And, it was the biggest thing I'd ever done. It was 20,000 people, and I was sharing a bill with, like, Coolio and Kenny G and a bunch of other performers. And I did it, and I was on cloud 9 afterwards, and I thought, that was fun. It'll be the last time I ever worked with David, and I'll always remember it. And then 3 weeks later, I got another important call, which was I wrote a song called The Prayer for Celine Dion and Andrea Bocelli. Bocelli's in Germany, can't show up. Yeah, you were good at that performance the other night. Would you mind coming down and singing at the Shrine with Celine? I was thinking, okay, could I hear the song? And he sent me the song, and I said, oh, this is in Italian.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So, I listened to it, and I looked at the Italian, and I'm thinking, David, you know what, I don't think I should do this. Thank you so much, but I don't want to embarrass myself in front of Celine. I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I just don't think I'm ready. And David said, okay, and we hung up the phone. And I was devastated. And we went to dinner that night, and we were just thinking, how could I have said that, And David called me back and said, you know what, come on down to the studio. I want to hear it anyway. I said, okay. So I went to the studio, and he said, what are you talking about, man? It's going to be great.
If he hadn't called you back, would you have called back and told him that you changed your mind, or you were just too...
I may have. Yeah. I was having second thoughts about it.
Yeah.
My immediate reaction, it was just weird, because usually my immediate reaction would be, oh my gosh, I can sing with Celine Dion and David Foster. Fantastic. But I was actually just worried that I couldn't do it, and so... but yeah, he called me back. So luckily,
you were accepted to different schools, and there was a point where you had decided that, okay, this has been fun, this is terrific, this is a great opportunity. I might want to do this professionally, but I want to continue my education. So you get into a very prestigious school. You're all excited about going, and then you get another phone call that says, hey, something's happening here, there's a buzz, I need you to perform again.
Yeah.
You get that offer for the record deal, and you're like, school record.
Exactly.
How did you make the decision?
Well, it was a real sacrifice, because I had gotten into Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, which is a very prestigious school for what I wanted to do, which was musical theater. And he kept calling me back to Los Angeles to do different events for him. And the teachers were saying, it's very nice, but we need you in class, So I eventually said to David, let me concentrate on one or the other. And he said, let's go make an album, and I was thrilled. I thought about it for a minute, and then I thought, this is an opportunity that I, for better or worse, can't turn down. I got to take the ride, so I did, and I'm very happy I did.
I love the album, and as I listened to the album, I felt that you made this album as if it might be the only one, because you wanted to introduce everything that Josh could do.
Exactly.
He said, just in case I don't make another one, I want to show that I can sing the operatic song, that I can sing the pop song, that I can do it well in Italian, that I can do it well in Spanish, that I can sing in English, that I can do some rockier things.
Sure.
You just went
I wanted to go all out,
Now, the people say, sure, that's a great idea, Josh, just to mix up all these musical stars, or were there people who were saying, maybe that's not what you should be doing?
Well, you know, again, everybody had an opinion, you know, and David and I and my manager, we all had one, you know, vision, and that was to just there was so much that I was interested in, and so many different kinds of music that I was into, and I just wanted to show it all, you know, without going in too many different directions. I wanted to make an album that you know, definitely had a story from beginning to end, but also showed all the different kinds of music that I was interested in. That's why you know, the Corrs, I love them, and I love Irish music, and I love electronica music. So we got Rhys Fulber, who worked with Delirium, to do a track on there with some interesting drum beats and things like that.
You redid The Prayer with...
And we redid The Prayer with Charlotte Church,
yeah.
And that, personally, to me, was such a great thrill because, you know, you were there. That was the first song that David really said, let's do something. And so to do it with Charlotte now, who's immensely talented, it was great.
You were surrounded by pros throughout this entire endeavor. I mean, people who obviously have been in this business for a very long time. Yeah. Did that put you into a surrounding where you felt, I'm safe, I'm feeling comfortable because these people have so much experience, or did that frighten you on the other hand, going, oh my God, you know?
A little bit of both, actually. When I first started the project, I would go into the vocal booth and I'd lay down the track that David wanted, and I'd kind of sit back on the couch really shy and just kind of watch him put it together and watch what he did. And I learned so much from him and the other, you know, brilliant people that were working on the album. And I eventually got a lot of confidence and moved right up there with the booth. And we started working together on a lot of things. And so it was a learning experience that I would not have been able to get in school. And so I'm grateful for that. But yeah, with that kind of experience around you, you learn a lot, and they're very supportive. But on the other hand, there's a lot that they ask of you, and there's a lot that you have to live up to. So you're constantly trying to live up to, you know, their 30, 40 years of experience, you know, in 3 months that you've been doing it. So it was difficult, but the learning curve was steep, but it was great.
You look around you, and most of the guys your age are in bands like, you know, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and there's a certain security that comes with that because you've got other friends on stage your age, and you're learning this all together, and you're all helping each other out.
Yeah.
Now, you're the same age, and you're doing something that is usually given to somebody who's much older, who's had experience, you know, 20, 30 years experience before they get up there and they sing the songs of this caliber. Have you given that thought, or is it just that, you know, you say...
Every time I go on stage. Yeah.
Do you?
You know, it is challenging because at 20, you know, I'm not going to be able to tackle the operatic roles quite yet. I've got a lot of training ahead of me, and I'm learning as I go, and it's a genre that is gaining worldwide acceptance now, and I'm thrilled that it is. But, you know, because it's not as huge as the NSYNC type music, you know, there's a lot to prove every time you go on stage. You have to show them, you know, I think you'll like this too, you know, every time. So yeah, and being a solo performer as opposed to being in a group is also a lot of pressure. But we've got our band now. We've been doing a lot of shows with got a rock band and some strings. So I've been getting to know them pretty well, and a musical director. So when they're on stage with me, I feel like I've got a great support team.
Are you amazed to see the whole list? I mean, you know, you see, okay, we've cited David Foster and all the people that you've worked with and that you sang with, but here you are on Larry King, on Ally McBeal, and it was such a huge success that they invited you back.
Right.
I mean, everybody here was buzzing about, oh my God, he was on Ally, and they really liked you as an actor as well. So I mean, you're blossoming out in different ways. I mean,
well, I hope so. I mean, that was such an amazing opportunity. David E. Kelley, who's the creator of Ally McBeal, gave me that shot and gave me that script, and I had a very small part. And then, you know, the cast kind of changed towards the end of the 4th season, and so they needed to make it a bigger part. And I never did a screen test. I'd never done really acting except for, you know, stage stuff. And he gave me that shot, and it was the director was amazing, and Calista Flockhart is so talented, and just working off of those people, it was hard not to learn.